Win like you're used to it, and lose like it doesn't bother you,
Okay.
right? I mean, you go in to achieve something, and you do the best job you can. And just like in poker, losing a hand, it bothers you for a second, but you got to go on to the next hand. You can't keep living that last hand. You learn from it.
Born in 92 on the block with the Sharks. Come from a different cloth, y'all would get ripped apart. You want it diamond, then you gotta get it in the dark. We dropping nuggets like Carmelo went to Rucker Park. Now we eating from state to state, we scrape the plate. I put my eggs in a basket, took a leap of faith. I took a chance, now we grow and see the impact. Decoding success with special guests, now let's bring Matt.
Bruce, welcome to the show, my friend. Really excited to have you and to decode your success. Now, in your famous words, it is time. Are you ready to have your success decoded?
Yeah, let's decode the hell out of me. Go ahead.
Let's do it. First question for you. How do you personally define success?
Success is fulfillment of one's goals, whether monetized or not. And also, success is going out, like I say on my podcast, setting a goal, learning as much about that goal and knowledge before you step on that path to achieve that goal. And then, if you feel that you've been the best you can be, then to me, that's success. Whether you're number one or number two, just be the best you can be and prepare, plan and prepare.
Cool. Now, just to get a little bit deeper on that, I'm curious. Now, if I'm pursuing a goal and I don't necessarily fulfill it, but I was the best I could be in pursuit of that goal, would you consider that successful or not?
Yeah, I think it's a personal success because you're winning at the based on the abilities that you have. You
Right.
know, I mean, you can't be somebody that you're not. If you set out to do something and you feel that you fulfilled it to a level personally that you're fulfilled, then that's winning. That's success. Maybe you're not making the most money out of it if there is money involved, or you're not number one. But it's just all about being the best you can be, man. Not everybody's the greatest at what they do. That's why there's competition in life.
Sure. Totally get that. And I definitely appreciate that perspective. Now, what was it that got you to view success in a light? Was it a certain event? Was it certain individuals? Maybe it was a different, group of people or
Well, everybody in life has mentors or people they learn from or role models. For me in my life, as I wrote about in my book, It's Time, my family's very close knit. My dad was very entrepreneurial minded, and I was working with him so we could pay the family bills back when I was as young as, 14, right?
Right.
Uh, Doing collector shows and other things that we did, when he quit his job as a Fortune 500 vice president to pursue his love of writing, and did what he did at a late age, what I did in my late 30s, around 38, when I sold two companies to take over management of a man called Michael Buffer, and his phrase, let's get ready to rumble, and trademark it and work with him. We hadn't even so much as made a hat or a t-shirt. I took what I learned as a young kid through teachings my dad gave me, and of course, in companies that I owned since I was 19, and the telemarketing, nutritional, import, export business. I owned a number of different companies. Life is about experiences. The
Mhm.
first time you go through something, if you have an experience, it's a negative experience. That's not a mistake. That's a learning experience. If you make that same mistake, if you do that experience again, then it's a mistake. You don't want to make mistakes in life, but you have to have reference points of learning experiences to realize what's right for you and what's wrong for you and what works. And the only way you get that in life is by reps or experiencing life and taking a shot and stepping on that path and 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 trying to achieve something no matter what the odds are.
Right.
But it depends on the individual. Not everybody's built for that. Not everybody's entrepreneurially minded. People need to do a good job for a salary and get a paycheck each week. Me, I've never been of that ilk. I've always been, which I respect tremendously, because you need those people. But the top 2%, some people say 1%, earn the most money, run the companies, are the leaders of the world. Not everybody can be a leader. There's
Mhm.
leaders that achieve and lead the pack, and then life is like a pyramid. You've got the leaders at the top, but you got the people on salaries and the people packing your boxes and answering the phones and doing all the legwork that needs to be done, which make that base, and that base has to be strong. So you have to nourish that base. So are you a leader, or are you a follower who can do a great job with somebody else leading you? I think one has to realize where their abilities lie within themselves to truly achieve in life what they set out to achieve.
Now, when it comes to your life experiences, have you ever found yourself in a position where you were making that mistake, right? As you just alluded to, you learn a lesson one time, second time it's a mistake. Were you ever rejecting something that life was trying to teach you and you saw it kept popping up and popping up and popping up?
You mean as far as like a situation I came up against?
Well, yeah, just any life experience, as you were just alluding to right there. You were talking about life being a set of
Oh
experiences.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the similar situation can come up, but in a different situation.
Right.
But it's still the same experience.
Mm,
So we all have mental mind banks to store our knowledge from. You have to draw from those experiences, which again could come up again, but in a different situation,
mm,
right? Whether it's communication with another human being, whether it's making a decision to go right or left at the stoplight, whatever. You just have to have reference points,
right.
but you got to apply them to different things. It's kind of like screenwriting. When my dad, who was a writer, he said, "There's basically 16 plots, but there's 150 ways to tell each story."
Mm.
So you're going to come across different experiences in different situations that are similar.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And I appreciate you sharing that. Now, Bruce, I know you do a ton of these podcasts. You have your own podcast, write books, you come in contact with a lot of people. I'm curious, what's a question you wish more people would ask you?
I never really think about that, because I'm so open to any questions. So that's an interesting question because I've never thought about that.
Well, it's
You know, it,
selfish.
it's,
you know?
yeah, it's kind of a selfish, egotistical self question. And I'm very unselfish and I have a constructive ego, but I don't have an egotistical ego. There's conceited ego and there's constructive ego. I come from the yoke where I have a 3-foot theory that I want to see everybody around me happy, prosperous, and healthy. And I feel that if I can help them achieve that or give off that kind of a vibe, it'll all come back to me. So I
Right.
lead a very unselfish existence.
Right. I love
Even
that.
though even though I go out to achieve and be the best of what I can be in everything I do.
Well, I also think that you achieve success by helping others achieve it, as you were just
Yes.
alluding to.
Yeah. Well, competition breeds success and success breeds competition. And I love seeing people successful.
Yeah.
Now, if they're going after the same job I'm going after, or the same end result or goal, then it's up to me to be the best I can be
Mhm.
to win that game. So you
Right.
recognize who your opponent, if they are an opponent, is.
Right. Right. Right.
Not everybody's an opponent. They can be supporters at the same time,
How do you identify that?
just through knowledge and experience and communication.
Okay.
Then you got to decipher, are they there to help you because they're looking to not help you in the long run.
Mhm.
People have games. You got to be able to read people. That's why I play poker. I don't play poker by playing the cards. I play the player.
That's
And
interesting.
that same mental attitude applies in different areas of life.
Right, right, right. I love that. Now, you talked about mentorship. I'm curious, what do you feel like was the best piece of advice you've ever received, and why was it given to you?
Win like you're used to it, and lose like it doesn't bother you.
Okay.
Right. I mean, you go in to achieve something and you do the best job you can. And just like in poker, losing a hand, it bothers you for a second, but you got to go on to the next hand. You can't keep living that last hand. You learn from it.
Mm,
Definitely learn from it. And another one is a bufferism I have, which is BSC, which is ball, skill, and confidence. And I have to have all three of those in hand, or I'm not going to sit down at that poker table or at that business table to make that decision. But you still need a good 10% luck factor to go with everything you do.
what's your advice to not hang on to those losses?
You got to get the Velcro off your ass and realize when it's time to get up from the table. You can't, if you're in a game where you're losing and losing and losing, and there's no end in sight, but you're so passionate about it, but you're losing, you got to make a decision when it's time to let something go.
Mm,
It's kind of like a relationship. Is it really healthy for me or is it not healthy for me?
yeah,
You got
I
to make a
do.
decision. You got to be willing to walk away, and you got to be willing to stay in the game and nourish it and let it
Right,
grow.
right, right, right. Now, what is a piece of advice that you were given that you didn't want to hear but proved to be true over time?
Just like when I took over my management, my brother. Well, like an example is when people maybe say that's not going to happen. You're not going to do that. You're against all odds. Well, just like my bourbon, puncher's chance, right? I believe that everybody has a puncher's chance in life, and one punch can change it.
Right.
So if I'm passionate about something, I'm going to go for it. And when I sold two companies when I was making excellent money back in like the mid '90s, to take over full management and partnership with my brother Michael and the Let's Get Ready to Rumble brand, which would basically was at its starting point. Let's say it hadn't had anything done with it, and we built it to approximately $500 million brand. There was a lot of trial and error in there, and people said, "Why are you giving up all the security to go for something that there's no security about, no guarantees?"
Mm,
Well, sometimes, just like Tom Cruise said in the movie Risky Business, you got to just say, "What the f?" You got to go for it. You got to roll the dice. You know, that's what entrepreneurs do. But that's where you got to realize: are you an entrepreneur, or are you a good follower to be a good employee for a great company or a business that you like?
How do you suggest someone identify that? I've done both, right? I own my own business now, but I also used to work for one of the sharks on Shark Tank. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I'm just curious to hear your opinion there.
It's self-analyzation. Do I want the security of a paycheck, or do
Right.
I want to be paid for what I'm worth and what I produce?
Right.
You got to realize, which one are you?
Right.
People
Yeah,
need the
that
security. The people
right.
need the security of the pay. If that's the case, then stick with it. You know,
Right. Right. What was it that necessarily came over you in the moment of after you sold the two companies and you were looking to take that leap? Like in that moment, did you feel like something inside of you, or was it just like a fuck it moment?
no, I was always an entrepreneur because I owned those two companies because I was an entrepreneur.
Right.
I started my first business when I was 19.
Right.
So I've always been entrepreneurially minded.
Right.
I started my first business in high school when I was 16, making jewelry and selling it to the girls and the teachers in high school. You know, I made necklaces, bracelets, and earrings, and I was, netting myself 600 or more a month in like 1974.
Oh, that's
You
good
know,
money.
yeah, think about what that money is today. So I realized I had a gift. I had a gift for gab. I had a gift for business, and it just all evolved from there.
I love that. Listen, Bruce, I could ask you a million and one more questions. I want to make sure I'm getting you out of here on time.
It's okay.
What do you have coming up that you want to make people aware of? You have the podcast, you have the book out. What else do you have going on?
Well, I started a company called millions.co. I'm a co-founder in, which if you look up millions.co.co, and it teaches professional fighters, boxers, mixed martial artists, Muay Thai fighters, Jits fighters, how to brand themselves. And we make merchandise for you. There's no cost to you. We show you how you can interact with your fan base and your social media and monetize yourself and start making money and building your brand at an early stage, not thinking you have to have 250,000 followers or more to be able to qualify for that.
Right.
Right. So a lot of people, a lot of fighters, they only look forward to their fight purses and they don't make any money unless they have secondary jobs. I want every fighter to make $1 million every time they step in the ring or the octagon or the cage or whatever. I mean, it's just a lifelong goal I've had. And this is a way of giving back a lot of advice on branding and marketing yourself. So if you're a professional fighter and you're watching this interview right now, go to millions.co and check it out. If you're not, go to millions.co anyway and see the fighters that are on there. And, you can buy merchandise from me, merchandise from them. Like next week on June 9th, I'm having a AMA called Ask Me Anything. You pay a small fee and we sit there and we talk about UFC 263 and you can ask me anything you want. You'd
Awesome.
be able to touch other fighters that you're fans of, to do the same. So there's that. I also have my own line of cologne and energy products coming out, the It's Time line. The energy products will be out first in the next month. It's the most amazing natural energy formula to give you the biggest boost that fighters can even consume without any problem with the solder or whatever a couple days before a fight because it doesn't have crap in it. It's got
Mhm.
good stuff in it. It's incredible. And it's going to be all over the world. This is out of England. It's being distributed all over the world. And you're going to see a lot of fanfare about that.
Very
So
cool stuff.
always working on stuff, my friend. Always
Well,
working.
that's a good thing.
And and the videos and the intros, weddings, birthdays, Father's Day, you name it, everything else I do on Cameo, or you go to brucebuffer.com. And that business has grown exponentially huge over the COVID period and will continue to. And my partner, Kristen, and I, when we do weddings and stuff like that, of which I've got 3 to do today, we get tears in our eyes from the thank you notes and how being part of someone's special day. It's an honor.
Yeah.
And partial proceeds go to animal, children, and military charities. And I don't charge over the top for them. I want to make everybody happy, even though it's a ton of work for me, but I get off on making people happy. So
Good. That's good stuff, Bruce. I definitely appreciate it. Now, I'm going to make sure all of the links to what we were just mentioning is in the show notes of this episode. But to
thank
take
you. I
us out of
appreciate
here,
it.
yeah, for sure. To take us out of here, if you could only give one piece of advice the rest of your life, what would it be?
Believe in yourself
Mhm.
and
Okay.
follow your life with passion.
I love that.
Little extra thing is if you have something you're passionate about and you can monetize it, you won't be going to work every day. You'll be living a job with life by design. You'll be living life by design,
Right.
right? Which is much more fun to do if you can monetize it and get out of it what you truly like to get from something you truly love to do in your work life.
Mm.
But whether it's personal, work, or otherwise, just follow life with passion
Awesome.
and be respectful to everybody around you. Treat everybody around you with respect and treat people the way you wish to be treated.
Right. Agreed. Bruce, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you again for hopping on here. I know you
My
got to
pleasure.
run, so I'm going to let you get out of here on time. Have a good one.
Thanks, Matt. You take care, buddy.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Born in 92.